Welcome to Devoted to a Soldier resource panel. Tonight it's about addiction, but more than just about addiction. It's about this very cool story that kind of hit at my heart. And as Sarah and I were talking, I'm like, shoot, I think we are living, like I'm the blonde, she's the brunette version of almost similar paths in life, down to the place that we are sitting actually right now, which we were just talking about. So I'm very excited to have Luke and Sarah on tonight. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Outstanding. Thank you for having us.
It is exciting. I love this. See, this is when the social media and the internet is good. When it brings like good people together and connection, I'm like, this is what it's made for, not the crazy chaos of everything else. So
Yes.
Here we are. Here we are today. But before we get in and we start talking about your story, why you're here, this path, very cool. Tell the world a little bit about Luke and Sarah.
So Luke and Sarah, we've been married for 14 years. We've got 5 kids between the two of us. We have a yours, mine, and ours family. And we're actually about to be grandparents this week. Even tonight, we might be getting a phone call tonight. So,
oh my gosh, if this gets cut off short, it is okay. There are bigger and better things coming.
Baby's on the way. So Luke retired from the Marine Corps in 2018. So we got to spend a lot of time traveling America. We spent some time overseas on vacations and whatnot. I'm never stationed over there, but he did almost 21 years in the Marine Corps, and then he retired, and now after traveling America for a while, because as he put it, I want to see the country that I spent all these years defending. We now live in Michigan. So
on purpose, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Which is hard to believe. I'm like, it's cold. It's like someone wanting to live in New Hampshire, but at least New Hampshire, we have mountains and beach. I mean, what the heck in Michigan besides family? And you won my heart with that story. So
yeah, so that is it. It is family.
That is it. 110% family.
You will get a free pass for being in Michigan because of that. So we're going to back up about this story, and I still love Luke. You are still strutting the cut. I love it. You didn't go totally off, gangster on us. My son grew a beard. He still has this big, bright red beard. I do not know where he got the big, bright red beard from. Maybe some genetic thing, but so you're still keeping it high and tight. Good job.
As a consultant, I got to try to look good.
Yeah. Show up. That is right. Okay. Enough about I'll go on about your beautiful sweater, the haircut. I could do this forever, but we have more important business to do. Why did you sell your house, get an RV, and travel? Like, that is pretty cool, pretty brave. What made you guys want to do that besides wanting to see the world or the America? Like, there had to have been a thought. Sorry, there's do you hear the helicopter?
Yeah.
Typical.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Of course.
Honestly, it's because not a lot of people have the guts to do it.
Yeah. People told us we wouldn't. When we said we're going to sell everything and travel America, they said, no, I want, everybody says, oh, I want to do that, and they never do. And so we're the type where if we say we're going to do it, we'll do it. If it comes out of our mouths, it happens. And so the more people that said you're not going to, we went on to let go, sold everything we owned, said bye-bye, went down to the size of a motorhome, and we lived in 34 feet for the span of about a good year.
Yep.
Okay. How long from the thought to the actual reality did that take you? I'm just putting it out there for people that are really wanting a change.
We spent about a year planning. We knew from about a year out from my retirement that we wanted to do it. And it took us a good 6 months to kind of sell off all of our stuff. So you really have to give that time, because we didn't want to go and just dump everything off on Salvation Army. We wanted to get a little bit of money because we had some really good stuff. So we took our time to sell it. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And
we had some brand new furniture.
Well, we had to plan too, because here we were in a house that was 3,800 square feet, moving into a 34-foot long travel trailer, So it's like, what do I really need? And then what can go? So you don't realize what you really need until you're down to the bare minimum. And you're like, look, we can survive just fine with these few things. So It was awesome. And I highly recommend that experience. If anybody's in a position that they can go do that, they got to go do it because it was worth every second of it.
What cool adventures. And there's something, I mean, David, my friend David, he's out in Arizona, he's watching. And yes, we do have something in common. We are RV livers. Both of us are all. There's something freeing about it when it is like to go through that experience. And people said the same thing. You're making this choice. This is your actual choice, Danielle, to do this. And I'm like, yeah, it was actually my idea. I've always wanted to live in a tiny home. My biggest problem is clothes and shoes. I always say that. That's like my biggest issue. Like, come on now, first world problem.
The Purple Key Crew. And we can name it. We're the Purple Key Crew.
That's right. We have a club, and you are not cool if you don't have a purple key. So, David, get a purple key, and you can.
A tip on the clothes, because Sarah had the shoes and clothes problem too. Every time she would buy 3 shirts, she would donate 3 to Goodwill, and that's how she just kept the recycle going. So, whenever you figure out what that space is, feel free to shop or just take in your other ones and drop them off. And that's how she did it. 2 pair of shoes meant 2 pair of shoes goes.
Yeah,
that is a very good.
I call it
a cool way to shop and change things up. Okay. We're on to something. All right. So you do this, but you guys also, I want to talk about, you had a faith journey too. Was faith always big into your life?
I'll start. So hers, yes, more than mine. I was saved in the Marine Corps. And took me a lot longer. She grew up with Christ in her life, and I never did until way later in life. But where it falls in is once we went in, like I said, everything we do is kind of, we jump in fully. So we're both pastors. And from the time I became a pastor and her as well, we started working with a drug and alcohol ministry called Teen Challenge. And I just started loving on the guys because they're more my style, right? Getting dirty, bloody down into it rather than a Sunday morning preacher. That's not what I do. I do prison ministry and drug and alcohol. And we just knew. I mean, we had a pastor who's a mentor of mine. He's like, that's who you're going to work with. That's who you belong with. And that was 11 years ago. And that dream has never gone anywhere. God's planted that seed in our hearts. And we've never, ever looked back. And we never thought it would be anything but working with drug and alcohol rehab. Yeah. And we knew when I retired that it was going to be military and first responders.
PTSD.
There was like no question, no back and forth. It was just like God placed this, and you said yes.
He placed it, and then he gave confirmation because it was a conversation between just Luke and I. The church that we were attending in Lawton, Oklahoma, there were a group of guys that would come in every Wednesday evening and every Sunday morning. And it was about 40 guys, and they would single file down to the section where they sat, and then they would single file out. And we were like, who are these guys? And so we asked one of the pastors, and he told us, that was Teen Challenge. And Luke and I had a private conversation, and Luke had said to me, I want to work with them because God had started to put it on his heart at that point. But we didn't say anything to anybody else. And 2 weeks later, the associate pastor walked up to him and said, Luke, I want you to work with them. And he was pointing over to the guys over there. And that is how the whole thing started. And God put it on my heart. I was like, what can I do? Because the men cannot talk to women. And they could talk to me if my husband was around. But if you work with a female Teen Challenge group, they can't talk to men. So they just don't want any boundaries to be crossed or anything. Right. So I was like, all right, God, well, what can I do for them? And because I want to show them your love, but I don't want to cross any lines. And he put it on my heart to start baking for them. But the funny thing was I didn't know how to bake. So I was like, God, you didn't just me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So what? Are you sure you're talking to the right person? So anyway, I started baking, and I would bake for 40 guys every other Sunday. We would go out to the ranch sometimes and cook full-on dinners for them and do book studies and Bible studies and taught them how to work out without using weights and stuff because Luke's undergrad is actually kinesiology, health promotion and physical fitness. So he knows all about working out, plus, all that time in the military.
Yeah, did a little something.
So, yeah, I mean, God made it clear, and we both said yes.
Oh my gosh. I love when people like, because sometimes I do these like crazy things and people are like, why do you always say yes? I'm like, I don't know. It goes in my heart and it lines with my soul. And I just want to love on people. And so I just have to. If I don't, it's like torturous. It's like, you just can't do it. I mean, so you're going through this, you both become pastors. This is put on your heart to like move in this direction. Now, how does this ranch actually like before I get into the whole ranch thing, did you each have a personal connection like with addiction? Did you know people? Was it something that you had gone through? Like, do you feel there was some inner being?
Yeah, I was an alcoholic till about 2009 was when I gave up the addictions. I don't care to make it public. I mean, it's part of my testimony. So the struggle with tobacco, pornography, and alcohol all went out the window on January 1st of 2009. So it was quite a moment. And then that was the year that I went to schooling to become a pastor, as a matter of fact. So I struggle. I know what it's like to be addicted and how you're never recovered. You're always recovering. And that's a big key. So I do know exactly what that feels like. Yeah, I used to get blackout drunk, and fighting was a passion and a hobby of mine in bars and stuff. So, I mean, yes.
Yep.
That's the shortest version I can give you. A big resounding yes. I know how hard it is to break the cycle of addiction. Been there, done that, and always living it.
Yeah.
When you go through that, do you kind of feel that sometimes it still sneaks up, right? Because we have these triggers and we have these patterns inside us, and all of a sudden you'll get this like, whoop.
Well, that's actual. I mean, that's brain chemistry, and that's proven. So there's those synapses. You know, they fire, and you feel that the joy sense. You know, the joy sensory kick off, and you know what that feeling felt like a long time ago. It doesn't go anywhere. That's why I say you're always recovering. You have to be careful with that, and not just let your guard down. You know, we know in combat, complacency kills, right? It's the same thing with addiction. You just have to, you're not going to white knuckle and go through life like, trying to hide from it all the time. And there are those points of release and freedom, but you got to learn to live with those. And how do you overcome them? Yeah. So that's the idea of, so drug and alcohol rehab is much, much more than just like a 12-step program, or it's always going to be there. And so how do we incorporate those tools and tactics and techniques into our lives?
Yeah. And Sarah, you were with him at that time going through that, correct? Because if I do math correctly, which sketchy if I'm doing math, but
you're mathing it correctly.
All right.
Yes, he and I actually we would frequent the bars together. I drank a lot also. I wasn't a blackout drunk. He would look at me in the morning and be like, "Are you mad at me for anything?" And my knuckles look okay. Did I fight with anybody? And we're like, this is kind of concerning. But no, I would drink a lot as well. I started messing with drugs when I was, freshman year of high school. I started, smoking marijuana. And anyone who says that's not a gateway drug, that's wrong. It is definitely a gateway drug. One thing led to the next, and pretty soon all I cared about was getting high and when I was getting my next fix. And I even to this day, because I quit drinking back in 2009 as well, and I smoked. I started smoking, stealing my dad's cigarettes in 8th grade, and he smoked non-filtered GPCs. So it was the nastiest of the nasty, is what I was stealing from his cigarettes.
Hardcore. I'm surprised you're not like,
you are a bad kid.
So I was doing that in 8th grade, like I said, and smoked on and off for up until like 14 years ago. And I have times, because when I was stressed, I would be like, I need a cigarette because I'm stressed out, or have a cigarette in one hand and beer in another. There's been times, even within the last, couple years, I've looked at him and I'm like, if I drank, I'd be drinking right now. If I smoked, I'd be smoking right now. So going back to your question of, does it ever really go away? You still have those triggers, and that's what Luke was saying. Like, we have to learn to cope with that stuff. My biggest thing for me to not go back is I don't want to start back at zero. I don't want to say it's been 0 days since I've done da 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 da. And that is what really helped me, because once I hit, it's been 6 months since I've touched anything, whether that was, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, whatever. Right. I didn't want to start that number over. I'm too hard-headed.
But on the other side of that too, though, is for those who do fail and fall, just understand God's grace and mercy exists for everybody. So if the number starts at 0, it's okay. Start at 0 and let's start rolling again. And that's all right. So yeah, I want to make that clear that I love how she does that. Doesn't want to lose
I'm hard-headed.
So for me, it's not a matter of like counting the days. It's just, I don't even know what days or anything. Yeah. But for me, it's a totally different day. The good feeling that's fleeting for the moment is not nearly as good as feeling of when I don't do it.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Whether it's alcohol, I mean, doesn't it feel better to wake up on Saturday morning without a hangover?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I love how you each have different tools to work through it, which gives you a different perspective, and you can talk about it, because it's true. What works for one person is not going to work for another person. So I love those two. I love how you're true about it, because some people, they live in this this kind of fake reality of like, oh, yep, that works for me too. And it doesn't.
Well,
so I love that.
Make no bones about it too. I mean, I almost destroyed our marriage too with all of our stuff. Yeah. I mean, 2009 timeframe, I dang near lost our marriage because of me, 100% because of me and the stuff that I was doing. So yeah, I mean, I have no problem saying that. Like I said, it's all part of our testimony, and it's what makes us more open and vulnerable to people who can reach out to us. If they see you screwed up your marriage, good, so did I.
Right.
Let's talk. I've been there.
And what if flip the same year, like you basically almost destroyed a marriage, you made it so strong and started a healing process at the same time. So that's pretty like that cool. 2009.
The pendulum swung the complete opposite direction.
Yeah. Woo! So you're going around, this is on your heart, you're acting what's on your heart. So I just want to keep saying that to people that are listening, that you have to act of what's on your heart. Don't keep it in. It's not placed there to be a secret between you and God. It's placed there to be moved out energetically into the world, which means you have to actually do something about it. So where does this ranch fall into play?
So the ranch, okay, so we own a consulting firm. So I'm not going to get into the business portion because that's not what we're here for. But the business was developed to drive the ranch. Even though the ranch is a 501c3, we developed it so that we can make, if we make millions of dollars, we're going to pump basically all of that back into the ranch.
It's called smart business. Smart business.
So, because everything I do, I think in terms of, bottom line, because we work in Lean and Six Sigma and stuff. So anyway, where that came into play is we bought 80 acres out here so that we can build this entire area up so that we can bring families out here to heal together. So that we don't just have, cram everybody in or bring just an individual out here. And we wanted the big open room in the middle of the country so that we can, they have the peace, and we have our property set up almost like a park now, is what, getting everything cleaned up and beautiful woods everywhere. And so it's a sanctuary for people to heal and begin the healing process as a family, or if it's an individual, but maybe they have burned bridges with aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters, mom and dad. Doesn't have to be wife and kids, but we're here to heal the whole system, the whole family system. And by the way, I want to be clear. I don't care if you're Muslim or Buddhist. I don't care who you are. If you're a vet and a first responder, I don't give a rip what religion you are. I will not be putting Christ in your face. Just understand that that's our heart, and we will serve you no matter who you are. We do not care a bit.
You can see the passion, and I love about bringing everybody, because it's true. Everybody has to understand. Everybody has to kind of go through it together. You can't isolate. I mean, there's certain circumstances, right? But I love this this model that you are healing together. So somebody's not going back home or going back wherever and trying to recreate what it is that they've gone through. They've gone through it together. You start in the same place, you go in at the same place, you come out at the same place. So you have those great tools and building, foundation.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'll say the other part of the business aspect, why it has to be thrown in, is not only does it earn money for it, but what we do is a translatable business skill, and we are corporate trainers too. So we will train people to reduce that recidivism where they feel like they have no hope. I don't have the skills. I was infantry and artillery, so I know that a lot of times you feel like, how do those skills translate? Well, you work in Lean and Six Sigma and other, corporate styles, so we can train people and coach and mentor them while they're healing, and then they can come out of here, and we're using our massive network, even whether it's locally or globally, so that we can try to find them employment in places where they can give back and contribute and feel, like just feel a part of society and just rejuvenate and relive. That's why it's Reveille Ranch, and it's like wake up renewed. That's the idea behind it. Yeah. Get rid of all that bull crap behind you and leave it alone. Forget it. I don't care what you've done in the past. It's time to move forward. So we try to give them some skills that maybe they can use. But that's also the part of the consulting company why it was built. So yes, it's great for us to have wonderful clients, but we would use that to give back.
That's power. You're putting power back into the hands. I feel like you feel so powerless when you feel trapped and unworthy and unwanted. And so, yes, you can heal yourself, but there's something in you that wants to have a purpose, right? That wants to have some sort of value. So be able to heal your heart and your soul and your family and your surrounding, but then also be like, well, I'm not an idiot. Yeah, I might have made, some idiotic choices in my life, but that does not define me as a person. And you can build on those and translate that into something else. So this is why I love this story. It's like this multi-layer of your own personal passion and push through and survival and moving on where your heart is. And that lesson in itself is so powerful because so many people are so scared of guilt of hurting somebody else. And then, worry and fear of not showing up the way they're supposed to. And you're just living proof that just being happy, finding your love, no matter how crazy or wonky and weird it is, really is what living is about.
Yes, true. No doubt.
That is, why after I talked to Sarah, your lovely wife, connected with Luz, he's like, talk to my wife. I'm like, I am. And we had so many things that aligned, even down to where we pop our butt right now at this moment. I'm like, well, that's God's placing, not anything else, but if God's will. But before we wrap things up, because I like to keep it nice and short and sweet, is there anything else you want to leave people with? Whether, I know you're in the process of building, I don't know if there's a way to follow you guys or keep track with that or help or just a mindset. So actually practical, because I like practical. But I also something's got to come to you on your heart.
Well, I think my biggest thing is because this is Reveille Ranch, which is geared towards veterans and first responders with PTSD. The first step is acknowledging the fact that the person has PTSD, because so many people look at it like, I can't talk to anybody about this. And that's why they turn to the drugs and the alcohol to begin with, because that's their coping mechanism. And for some reason, there was this wave of, if I tell someone I have PTSD, well, then that makes me look weak. No, it doesn't. It does not make you look like a lesser person in any way, shape, or form. And there's nothing weak about admitting that you need help. And it actually takes courage to say, I have an issue and I need help. And so that's my biggest thing, is I want to encourage people get that help, because basically they're living in a prison of themselves because they're not getting that help, and that's no way to be. So it's the help is out there. Go get it. As soon as we have everything finalized, I'll absolutely give you the website and all that good stuff, so you can pass our info out. But that's my number one thing, is just get the help. It's out there. And I was gonna say, and then right now, so as Reveille Ranch is being built up, we also are the CEO of another foundation which ties in. So it's called H&H Rescue. And so H&H, you can go get it on our LinkedIn page there. So if people are interested in the immediate, so H&H it can be heroes and horses.
so that we can use horses. They can just come out and love on them. So it's not the PTSD focus, but right now it's the beginning 501c3 essentially. And so it's a horse rescue that we're the CEO of. Then we're using that to reach out to veterans and first responders as well. So it's kind of step one. So it's H&H, and then it'll go into R&R, right? So, but anyway, some people have already said even like, hey, right now, what could we do to donate? Because we, believe in you guys. If you do, then H&H is a way to do it as well, right now. And then as we build up Reveille Ranch, then you'll see kind of both of them feed again. We have our hands all over stuff. I mean, we own several companies, have a couple of 501c3s. So I mean, we are always.
Yeah.
We're a web of things.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like you're very strategic. I love it. I need a little bit of that brain, that strategic side, because I have these great ideas, and I'm like, well,
She's the brains. That's for sure in this. So if you need help with that,
yeah,
that's all on track here. But yeah, so H&H rescue is a way right now that can just kind of start feeding in, and so.
And that right there is kind of like a give and take, because the horses there have been rescued out of, abusive situations, neglected situations. And so going and spending some time with those horses, I feel like it's more therapeutic for the person than it is for the horse. So like it's a give and take type thing, because then they're getting looked on. And as I spoke with you on the phone about, we do want to get horses over here because horses are very therapeutic. So we'll have horses on the property, and dogs as well, therapy dogs. So
yeah, I have a friend of mine who is in the Marine Corps, retired as a master canine handler. And so we're going to try to get him to do some of the dog work up here. And when you go to H&H, though, the Clydesdale, she's mine.
That one's Luke's.
What Eleanor is.
That's his princess.
Fine, I'll share her. I'll share her with other vets, but I'll tell you, that's my girl.
100 pounds.
Yeah, she's a 2,300-pound girl, sweetest horse on the planet.
Now I gotta go check out this love. Luke's
there are
love.
no problems on the planet that she can't handle with a hug, I tell you.
Oh,
yeah. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story and your heart and your passion and where you're going and a little bit of the brains behind it, because sometimes, Sarah, thank you for sharing Sarah with us, Luke, today, to, inspire and put a plan of action, strategic. There's nothing that we can't do if we just act of what is on our hearts. So you are a blessing. Thank you again. And to everybody out there watching, I am a big Italian family loving person. So find a table, my table, anybody's table, Luke and Sarah's, whatever it is. Find one, join it, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye.